Hey guys, welcome to class number 3. I'm a little bit late because we're having a crisis. We couldn't find the right snack for the playroom, and so we're trying to get the snack situation under control. Gavin, Reed, Brooks, and Chris, his little boys here, and they're upstairs just having a big old time. So I hope you guys are doing well. I'm excited about this class. This is going to be a great class. There's a lot of really interesting information, I think, tonight. I hope that you're going to enjoy it. I think this is going to give you, additional credibility as far as your own personal belief level. Just going to break some things down for you. I'm going to be answering some questions that you guys have shared with me throughout the week, and also, via text and private message and posted in the Facebook group. So if you missed my post earlier today in the Facebook group, if you guys do have questions from the previous 2 weeks, or if something comes up tonight and you're just confused and you really want to know, what the heck is she talking about, or maybe there's something else that you're just not sure of, please post the question in the chat box and I'll get to it tonight. We're going to try not to go really long. Thank you, honey. Philip's bringing me stuff. I realize I'm needy. We're going to try not to go long. But at the same time, this is your class. I am simply here to serve, and if you guys want to ask questions and it takes a longer time and you want to hang out with me and you want to watch, you are welcome to stay and we will get your questions answered, because bottom line, this is for you and for your success and helping you guys move forward. So we have a full agenda tonight. This is a great class. This is a lot of good info. We're going to talk a lot about, oh, look, there's my text. We're going to talk a lot about the three-way call. That's actually not on the agenda, but the majority of your questions are coming about the three-way phone call and how to set up a three-way phone call and how to get people on three-way phone calls. There seems to be a disconnect there somewhere. So towards the end of class, we're really going to break down and dissect the three-way call and why that truly is the number one most important thing to your business. And so we're going to talk about that, how to do it, how to set it up properly, what to do while you're on the call, what not to do while you're on the call, how to disconnect from the call, because there are right ways and there are wrong ways. So we're going to make sure that we cover all of that tonight. But I want to start, to be honest with you, I want to start just with a minute of transparency from me. I don't know how many of you were able to be on Jenny Donnelly and Danny McDaniel's training last night. Raise your hand out there if you were. I listened. Philip and I were on our way home. We were driving home from Chicago. If you're friends with us, obviously you all are friends with us on Facebook, but we were driving home from Chicago because we had taken our son, Jack, to Godzilla Fest. I know, but it was awesome. Like, it was success school for Godzilla fans. They take it very seriously, and it was awesome, and it was so good for him, and he loved it, and he won some prizes, and it was a great thing for him to be able to experience and for us to be able to gift that to him. And so we're driving home from Chicago when we were listening to that training, and I just cried, you guys. I cried my eyes out because it hit me so deep in the heart. I want you to know that we are not immune as your leaders, as diamond distributors in this company, as people who've been around for 3.5 years. We are not immune to some of the struggles and most of the struggles that you guys have. We're not immune to getting complacent. We're not immune to fear, and I'm certainly not. And so we're driving home and I'm listening, and Jenny Donnelly, for those of you who don't know who she is, Double Diamond Distributor, she is a visionary. She and I share that same top strength. And so she speaks my language. And so I was listening to her speak last night on that call and just crying my eyes out because I could see in my mind's eye where I've fallen short and what I needed to change. And so just a total moment of transparency for you, as someone who's lost a great deal of weight on these products, it's been very easy for me to kind of step back and go, well, I'm going to focus on my business now, and I'm going to kind of take myself off of the list. And so, bad habits creep back in, things happen, and then, so you justify it and you say, well, at least I don't weigh 300 pounds anymore. I'm nowhere close, not even knocking on the door. So I feel great. I mean, I feel phenomenal. I take Advocare products. Of course I feel great. So it's really okay if I don't eat clean anymore because I've got these great products, because I'm always in a hurry. So we're going to have to eat out. And so, I'm realizing as she's talking that I've made all these excuses for myself, right? And so what has happened is, I find myself in this physical state where I'm like, I'm not really pleased with where I am. And so I started asking myself, and I have been asking myself the question over about the last month, okay, how did I get here and how am I going to get out? How am I going to fix this? So 2 weeks ago, Philip and I decided that we were going to start meal planning. We were going to, meal plan, we were going to meal prep, and we were going to remove excuses. And so I set a goal for myself. I set a weight goal for myself, and I gave myself a date. So I have a 20-week goal for myself. It's an aggressive goal. It will actually have me, at my best weight since before we got married 16 years ago. It is aggressive, but I believe if I stick to my plan that I'm going to get there. Well, what I did not know and what I did not realize until last night was that finally I've done exactly what Jenny was talking about. Now, if you haven't listened to the training, I'm going to have to say I'm sorry for you, and we're going to have to try to find it for you, because it was the best training I've heard probably in 3.5 years. At least it was for me personally. But what she was talking about was having a bullseye and having a goal in your bullseye. And then each ring of that bullseye, it gets further and further away from your goal. And so the tighter in your goal, you've got to aim your arrows at that bullseye. And so I realized that finally, for the first time in a couple years, I've got my bullseye set. And so I've got my ring of tolerance where I know that, I've been tolerating out here, right? And I want to get closer and closer and closer into my goal. And so now, every single Monday, that's why I look the way that I look today, because I have literally been in my kitchen prepping meals for Philip and myself for the next 7 days. I cooked for 8 hours today. And I didn't want to do that. I don't like to cook. But I knew that it's an arrow. I'm shooting an arrow at that 20-week date, at that goal weight that I have. So in days past, it would have been very easy for me to wake up this morning and go, I'm exhausted from this trip yesterday. I do not want to go to the grocery store. I do not want to meal prep and plan. I don't want to do that. And I wouldn't have done it. And then I would have gotten to December and the Costa Rica trip and gone, man, I'm really displeased with the way I feel. I'm really displeased with the way that I look. And I could have looked back and realized it all started with that daily decision not to get up and do what I knew I needed to do. And so now that I have that bullseye set, now that I know what my goal weight is and I know what the date is, I now have that as my mark, and I'm sighted in on that mark, and I know what I have to do every single day. So you better darn well believe every bite that's going into this body is getting measured by, is this taking me where I want to go, or is this taking me further away from where I want to go? And so I tell you all of this for a couple of reasons. A, because I just feel like you need to know that growing in leadership and Advocare does not make you immune to the struggle, okay? Does not make you immune to the head games and the doubt and the fear. But also because your journey is going to look very similar to mine. Not maybe from a weight standpoint, but there's going to be an issue. There's going to be a moment where you're going to have to put something in your bullseye. Now, some of you are going to choose not to do that. I hope not. But it's hard because it's real. When it's in that bullseye, it's real. It's a target. It's in front of you, and it's real. And so you're shooting arrows every day, whether you mean to or not. Your arrows are going, right? And you're either missing the mark over here or you're honed in and you're hitting it. And so my encouragement to you is, let's figure out what your bullseye is. For some of you, it's going to be that silver pin initially. For some of you, it's going to be a dollar figure that you want to earn. For some of you, it's going to be, you know, an achievement like getting out of debt by this date. For some of you, it is a health goal. It's going to be, you know, fit into this size pants by this date. For others of you, you know, it's going to be a family goal. Take vacation by this date, and that's going to go in the center of your bullseye. And I promise you, something flips. It's flipped for me completely. Philip even commented today. He's like, you are a woman on a mission, and I am, because I see it now. It's there in the center of my bullseye, and I know where I'm going. And so therefore, every arrow I'm shooting, I'm aiming at that bullseye. So we've got to figure out for each one of you what that bullseye is, so that when you shoot those arrows, they're going to the target. And they're not just going all over the place, going crazy and, you know, willy-nilly, because we don't want you to get there, get to that goal date, and go, well, why am I not here? I guess this thing just works for everybody else and not me. You got to be able to look back and go, well, my daily decisions either did or did not match up with my goal. So I hope that helps you guys, just to know that you are not alone in this, that we've had to walk through it. You know, another thing she said was, you know, the greater the purpose, the greater the purpose inside that bullseye, the larger the level of investment. And that is so true as well. I invested 8 hours today in my kitchen prepping and preparing for this next week. So as your purpose inside of your bullseye grows, you're going to find that your level of investment, whether it is, for some of you who still have not purchased your Success School ticket, it's committing right now to going and getting your Success School ticket no matter what. For some of you who have bought your ticket but you're still giving yourself an out, you got to close the door. Okay? For some of you, it is, well, there's really no way for her to check and see if I've really sparked 20 people. You're right, there's not. But you're only hurting yourself if you don't do that. For some of you, it's, well, I got Spark out there, but I haven't really, you know, introduced anyone on the phone. You know, that doesn't hurt me. That's only hurting you and your business. So I just want you guys to see that the greater that purpose, the greater the level of investment, and you're in charge of that. And that's great news. I hope you see that as great news. But you're the one who is in control. You're the one who's in control of that investment and how much you're willing to sacrifice, to invest, because I can promise you that it's worth it. It's worth it. We've had to invest and sacrifice a lot along the way. But when I look back, every single ounce was worth it. Okay? So I hope that blesses you. I hope that helps you. I just really wanted to share that with you guys moving in, you know, right out of the gate. So let me look down here real quick and see. Again, if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to post them in the chat, and I'll check it from time to time. But what we're going to talk about tonight, actually, there's a lot. There's a lot of different kind of random points, and then, like I said, at the end, we're going to kind of tie it together with some questions and really, you know, driving home the three-way phone call. But the first thing we're going to talk about tonight is called the cash flow quadrant. Can you guys see that? Yes, you can. I'm going to move over and not try to hit my table. But I love the cash flow quadrant because I think for some people, this is actually from Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you've read that book, it's an excellent book. But I really like this, and I like sharing this with people. And I save this and I reserve this a lot of times for when I'm sitting down at a two-on-one meeting, or, you know, if I'm having a one-on-one with somebody, say after a business opportunity meeting. You know, again, there's a place for this, but I want you guys to see this because this is a great thing just to draw out for somebody on a napkin. Again, Charlie Regis used a napkin and a pen a whole lot in this business, and I think it's great to be able to show people. This is, if you want to divide this in half, on this side of the quadrant, employee and self-employed, this is where 95% of all people fall, okay? 95% of all the people in the world are either an employee or self-employed, which basically would be like a realtor or someone who has a landscaping business. They own a job, okay? 95% of all people fall here, but only 5% of the wealth is generated here. Okay? 95% of the people, 5% of the wealth. So this would be someone who goes to a 9 to 5, anyone, corporate America person, a teacher, a hospital worker, nurse, a doctor, whoever. These are people who are employed by someone else. They have somebody else who sets their salary. Then you have someone, this is where Philip fell, as a realtor. He owned his real estate business, but really, if I'm being completely truthful here, that business owned him. And the reason being, when someone wanted to see a house, he had to go show that house, whether it was in the middle of dinner or Christmas Eve or whenever. So he, yes, self-employed, and we loved being able to say that, but that job owned him, okay? When you move across the quadrant over here and you have business owner and investor, this is where only 5% of the people in the world fall, but 95% of the wealth is generated. Okay, that's a massive discrepancy there. And this is what I want to tell you about investor. An investor is someone, let's say, they buy some land, right? They have a large sum of money. Maybe they were, it was an inheritance, or, they come from a family with a lot of money, or, whatever the reason, they have a large sum of money that they can take and invest, let's say, in a parcel of land. And then they hire people to farm the land, and every year they're earning on that investment, okay? So this is somebody who has money, right, to start with, but you have to be an investor, but your money is working for you, right? So they've invested to purchase this tract of land, and so that money is working for them because every year it's producing a crop, and they're able to then sell the crop and make money back as, off of their investment. So this is, you have to have money here. And then there's a business owner, okay? This is where we fall in AdvoCare. This is where basically you don't have to have a whole lot of money to start in AdvoCare. We all know it's a $2,100 maximum out-of-pocket investment to have an AdvoCare business. And if you are willing to work, you can recoup your investment in less than 30 days. If you will put your sponsor or mentor to work for you, you can have all that product moved or recoup it through your AdvoCare check in less than 30 days. We do that all the time to help people who are willing to work. This is business owner, a system in place that works for you. What I love about AdvoCare is that you make that $2,100 investment, you become a business advisor, you never once have to formulate Spark. You never once have to package Spark. You don't have to research or write the Impact magazine. You don't have to hire the doctors. You don't have to put on Success School, right? You most of the time don't even have to, lead your own mixers until you're ready to do that. This is the beautiful thing about being a business owner, is that you truly own that business, and that system that's already in place works for you, right? In AdvoCare, you even have a mentor that works for you. You have a person or people who are dedicated to being there to help you. That's the beauty of a business owner. So remember, 95% of the people generating 5% of the wealth. If you've ever watched a webinar that I've led or that Philip's led, that's where you see, these statistics. 82% of all people hate what they do. That's why. They're not generating a whole lot of wealth, but they're working a whole lot. And then you come over here with the people who figure it out and who go, man, you mean I can be a business owner and have a system that works for me for a minimal investment, and I can make a gazillion times more than my original investment if I will just employ myself and go to work? It's amazing. So I love this. Again, this is not something that you are going to go out and hit somebody over the head with. Please don't do that. We don't want to do that ever. But this is mostly, honestly, for your knowledge, just for you to kind of write down and get your head around. I want you to see the gift that you have your hands on here. You guys are just starting out, but I want you to see what you've got your hands on here as a business owner. You are a CEO, all right? If you've never even made $1 yet, you are still a CEO of your own business, okay? So this is awesome. This is something for your mentor to share. If you've got a prospect and you guys are talking business, and you get them connected on a three-way call or a two-on-one meeting, or they come to a business opportunity meeting. That's really something for your sponsor to share. I'm not going to suggest that you sit down and map out the cash flow quadrant with people, right? It's not really duplicatable. So just for your knowledge. Now that we know that, now that we understand that you are a CEO, that you, even right now, this minute, own your own business, we also have part of our system is the Debt Buster system. How many of you have never heard of that? I know there are some out there who had no clue that Advocare has a Debt Buster system. I was talking to somebody the other day who's been an Advocare for 2 years. They still didn't know that we have a Debt Buster system. We're going to watch a quick clip on the Debt Buster system. This is so appealing to people. I talked to a lady yesterday on a three-way call who has a massive amount of debt, and the Debt Buster system is going to be so helpful to her. She doesn't know about it yet. I can't wait to tell her. But what I love about Debt Buster is it's free. So if you've ever been a part of a Debt Buster type program before, you've probably paid money for it. Ron Reynolds, who is one of our SVPs, you're going to see him in this video. He's one of my favorite people on the planet. He's a genius. He is literally a rocket scientist. That's what he did before. He worked also with Jim Rohn. If you know Jim Rohn Enterprises, worked very closely with Jim Rohn, wrote a lot of his curriculum. He also wrote the Debt Buster program and had actually intended to sell it to Advocare distributors. And Charlie Regis said to Ron, he said, why in the world would we talk to people about getting out of debt and then charge them for a Debt Buster program? So it's free. All you have to do is call customer service and tell them to put one in your next order, and they absolutely 100% will. And it is free to every single distributor in Advocare. Distributor, advisor, doesn't matter. If you have a $79 membership, you can get your hands on the Debt Buster system free. I love that. It blows my mind, because the ultimate freedom is debt freedom. Okay, we all know that. And so if you have debt right now, I hope you're crying tears of joy, because this is going to blow your mind. So let's watch the video really quickly on Debt Buster, on how neat this program is, and then I'll be right back. This is the craziest thing, you guys. I'm telling you. Okay, here we go. All right. All right, here we go.
Debt freedom is the single freedom that makes all other freedom.
With Advocare's award-winning Debt Buster system, anyone can learn the basics of living debt-free forever.
Between school debt and some credit cards and whatnot, we just blanked, and all of a sudden it's happened. We found ourselves in quite a bit of debt. Most Americans, if they lost their job today, have enough access to money in a bank account or someplace where they would be able to cover their current overhead for about 2 years.
When we started our journey with Advocare, the first thing we did was we ordered the Debt Buster system, and we wrote down every single one of our debts. And let me tell you that that was a lesson in breaking down pride. Once we wrote down all of our debts, we just got real with where we were, but we were also able to now get in action, get in a plan, and told us what to do step by step.
The average American today has 8 credit cards, and they owe, on average, now over $10,000.
This free program helps you eliminate debt by systematically setting up a payment plan that helps you tackle all your bills with the extra income you've earned at Advocare.
It's simple. It works. Obviously, we paid up $150,000 on the debt using it.
3 years. In 3 years.
So talk about freedom.
The opportunity along with the Debt Buster system, which is awesome. It allowed us to actually rid ourselves of a minimum of $60,000 worth of debt.
In 11 and a half months, we paid off $135,000 in debt. I'll tell you, when you send out your last debt payment check, you are at a party. I mean, you are excited. It is just one neat feeling because you don't owe a penny to anyone. It's the one freedom that allows all other freedoms to come true.
I love that, you guys. So, you know, if any of you have questions about Debt Buster, let me find my thing here. Hold on. That's not it. Hang on, you guys. I gotta find you. There you are. And also, we just had a neighbor pop up in our yard too, so there's a little bit of chaos. We had a neighbor pop up in the yard, and so we've got boys upstairs, storm going on, dogs not happy about the storm, so distractions abound, but we press on, right? So if you have questions about Debt Buster, and I think, again, as you guys hone your story and as you guys get more confident and more comfortable sharing your story and you engage people in conversation about AdvoCare, these are great things to be able to let them know, you know, that we do have a program that can help them pay off debt. If you know that you have friends right now who are struggling with debt, be it school debt or credit card debt or whatever kind of debt, this is a phenomenal thing to let them know, right? So just put that in your back pocket and know that it can work for you. It can also work for your friends. The next video that we're going to watch is about our Informed Choice program. Again, I don't really understand why the curriculum's in this order, but it is, and we're going to go with it because it's been producing silver pins for a long time. So we're going to watch a quick video on Informed Choice, and then we're going to talk about that for just a moment. That is our testing program. So hold tight. Let me find that. I have a lot of windows open.
At AdvoCare, our products are produced with ingredients that are of a higher standard. Product design incorporates ingredients that are there for a reason, not just to fill space on a label. Our quality control staff monitors products, reviews all the associated documentation. This includes all safety and accuracy requirements. Consumer monitoring in this industry is addressed after the product is released. This includes internal as well as external third-party groups. And because of our strength in sports performance products, we go above and beyond what's required by law to give assurances to our consumers. The Informed Choice International Testing Laboratory in the UK certify our products to be free of banned substances. Products tested, certified, are identified by the Informed Choice logo. AdvoCare is a worldwide leader in this certification program. The program is detailed. Not only are the products tested, but all manufacturing sites are registered and audited. AdvoCare's effort and financial commitment to certify our products to be banned substance free is unmatched in the supplement industry. We do it because it's the right thing to do, right for our customers, our world-class endorsers, and it defines who we are and what we stand for.
All right. So I share that with you guys because, hold on, let me find you. I think it's important, you know, I hear sometimes people talking about Informed Choice and they, you know, speak about all of our products being tested and this, that, and the other, and that's not accurate. You know, we only test certain products. Now we submit more products for testing than any other supplement company does, but you'll notice that not all of our products have the Informed Choice check mark, and so be very careful when you're telling people that our products are tested. You want to make sure you're using the right language, that over half of our products are submitted for independent testing, and they are 100% banned substance free, toxin free, and contaminant free. So I just think it's good for you to understand, that why we choose informed choice, how important that is to the credibility of our company. Again, one of the reasons why we are so intent on making sure that our distributor base is so well trained is because of the great lengths that our company goes to that they don't have to go to protect and preserve the house of AdvoCare. So we have to do our part as well. Corporate is doing their part to preserve and protect our reputation and the doctor's reputation. And so it's equally important that we do the same, that we be professional at all times, that we treat this like a business. If we are expecting to earn income, that we treat this like a business, that we, follow proper procedure. There's a reason why this is in place. So just like corporate follows procedure when they are testing our products, we must, as the distributor base of AdvoCare, also follow procedure because both are in place to protect the house. Okay? All right. So next, common objections. How many of you understand that? How many of you have ever heard, well, I don't know about one of those things, it just seems like everybody's talking about AdvoCare, it's really saturated, right? Too saturated. Also, it's a pyramid scheme. That's my favorite one. Oh, I don't know, it's one of those pyramid schemes. And then also the cost or the price of the product. So we hear those a lot. And so what I want to do before we do get into three-way call and talking about, why you have to do them, why you have to set them up correctly, why your business is completely dependent upon the three-way phone call. We're going to talk about all that. We're going to role play. We're going to do all kinds of things here in a minute. But we're also going to talk about these objections because I think that a lot of times we hear an objection and we just shut down and we don't, or we get defensive. So here, let me do this. Here's what we're going to do. If somebody gives you an objection, okay, let me make sure you guys can see. If someone gives you an objection about AdvoCare, if someone says to you, I don't know, that sounds like one of those pyramid schemes. You have two choices. You can get defensive. You hear that loud thump? That is our dog, Winnie. She's a yellow lab golden mix, and she flops everywhere she goes. It's awesome. It's a great life she had. You can get defensive, which would say, what do you mean one of those pyramid things? Of course not. Do you really think I'd get involved with something like that? You're stupid. Not that you would do that, but our tendency is to get really defensive because we know what AdvoCare is about, and we know the heart of AdvoCare, and we know how many people it's helping. We know how it's helped us. So the tendency a lot of times is to get defensive. Or you can ask questions. Okay? I love asking questions. So if somebody says to me, Mary Alice, that sounds like one of those pyramid deals, my very first response is going to be, you know what, tell me, what exactly do you mean? When you say pyramid scheme, what exactly do you mean? And oftentimes they don't have an answer because they don't really know. They just heard Uncle Fred, who has no money, talk about pyramid schemes. So a lot of times, immediately you're going to find they don't really know what they're talking about. They're just talking. They're repeating something that they've heard. They associate direct sales or network marketing not with the wealthiest people in the world like they should, but they think it's some kind of a scam because nothing as good has ever happened to them. Right? So when you ask the question, you're going to very quickly figure out why they feel the way they feel, and you're going to be able to then address it and turn it into a positive. So if I go over here and I'm like, you're stupid, do you really think I'd get involved with a pyramid scheme, you big dummy? Or if I'm like, of course it's not a pyramid scheme, or, I start immediately saying, well, corporate America is the pyramid scheme, which I believe that, but I'm not going to immediately jump into that with somebody. Because what if they work in corporate America, and what if they get offended? So be very, very careful about getting defensive. Don't do that. Ask questions. So okay, so I'm sharing it with a friend, and my friend says, well, Mary, I don't know, it just sounds like one of those pyramid schemes. And I'm going to immediately say, well, tell me exactly what you mean by a pyramid scheme. Let's say they say, well, you know, one of those things where they take your money and you're out all this money, and you know, you wake up the next morning and the company's shut down, and, you know, you're out $10,000, which I actually know someone that's happened to, strangely enough, because it was a pyramid scheme. So let's say that's their answer. I then have the knowledge to say, oh, I'm so glad you shared that with me. Let me put your mind at ease. Advocare is a 21-year-old company. We are completely debt-free. We have a spotless reputation. But add to that the fact that if you see Advocare like I see it and you say yes, we have a 100% money-back guarantee for a full year. There is nowhere that I know that you can go and test drive a product or a business for a full year, knowing that if it's not for you, you can get your money back. So, you know, I don't know about you, that just doesn't sound like a pyramid scheme to me. So I would love for you to take a look at this, you know, a little bit more in depth and see if this could be something for you. Does that sound fair? So immediately what I've done, when you ask questions, it diffuses and disarms. Okay? Diffuses and disarms. All right? We also know that we can use the bulletproof shield. We talked about the bulletproof shield last week. So if somebody comes up to me with a sucralose objection, and I'm going to immediately ask them the question, well, so tell me, what is your objection to sucralose? And they're going to tell me, what are your thoughts on sucralose? And they're going to tell me. I can immediately then default to, you know what, I understand exactly how you feel. I felt the same way, and here's exactly what I found. And I can default to the SciMed board and the endorsers, okay? Because I'm going to stay inside my bubble, okay? So just remember, all of these things work together, and the more you practice it, the better you get at it, the more it flows. When I was brand new, I couldn't do this, and I stumbled all over myself, and I made a lot of mistakes and had to go back and repair a lot of damage. It's okay, but just know that you can flow with this the more you practice and the more people you talk to. It's why we're encouraging you to talk and spark 20 people. It's for practice, okay? Practice makes perfect. So the next objection, let's say it's too saturated, all right? Somebody says to me the other day, I actually had this one happen to me. I was talking with a friend about Advocare, and she said, you know what, it sounds amazing, but everybody's doing it. I mean, it's just saturated. And I said, well, so tell me kind of, what do you think about when you think saturated? Tell me what you think about when you say that. And she said, well, everybody's doing it. I don't really know who I would talk to because all my friends are doing it. I said, well, you know, I get that. I understand how you feel. You know, I honestly felt the same way 3 years ago when we started. I figured everybody already knew about this because the company's been around for 20 years. But, you know, here's what I found. Did you know that the very fastest distributorship to Diamond did it within a year, which means she only started about a year ago. So brand new to the company and fastest to the Diamond level. Did you know that in America, Costco and Sam's have about 40 million members, and Advocare has roughly 600,000? So I tell you this, we are nowhere near being saturated. In fact, this is the perfect time to get involved. This is truly, I believe, the tipping point of our company. So no better time to get involved. And I'd love to kind of show you more information on that so that you could see more for yourself and make a quality decision before you count yourself out, before you hear anything else. You get the point, right? So you're disarming, you're asking questions, and you're never being defensive. When people are objecting, they are objecting based upon something that's happened to them in their past. People come with scar tissue. People come with bad experiences from other companies. People are naturally skeptical and cynical. And anytime we get defensive with them, it just makes them go, I was right. Okay? So we have to make sure that we are diffusing and disarming them by always being kind, always asking questions, and at the end of the day, leaving them with their dignity. Because if somebody says to me, this sounds like a pyramid scheme, and I ask them questions and I diffuse the bomb and they still want to say no, I'm going to leave them with their dignity. I'm going to say, you know what, that's okay. This just may not be for you, and I understand. It's not for everyone. It's okay. And what you've done is you've left them with a very sweet taste in their mouth, and they've walked away going, oh, she really was different, or he really was different. I expected them to pressure me. I expected them to push me into this. If you have to push somebody into Advocare, you're going to have to push them the whole way. That is a promise, okay? Or pull them. You don't want to pull or push anybody into Advocare, all right? You want it to be a quality decision that they have made because they feel that it's right for them, okay? And so the other objection that I get most often is the price, and I totally get that. I was there 3.5 years ago in foreclosure, so I get it. I didn't have money for a 24-day challenge either. So when someone, talks to me about the price, I start asking questions. Okay, well, let's just, hang on. Don't rule yourself out. Don't count yourself out. Discredit yourself before we even start. Talk to me for just a minute about kind of your eating habits right now. And so they're pretty much going to tell you, more than likely that they're already spending money on coffees and teas and sodas and Doritos and junk food and all that stuff. And you're going to be able to say, well, here's how I see Advocare. Advocare to me is an exchange, okay? So when I started Advocare, I was, and this is what I tell people, you certainly don't, if you weren't broke, you don't, you tell them your story, or make this relatable in the way that you would make it relatable. I tell people, I was broke. I didn't have any money at all. I had $146 to my name, but I was still figuring out a way to spend $5 a day at Starbucks. And what I learned very quickly is that the 24-day challenge, which is our flagship program, if I bought it at full retail cost, was only going to cost me $7 a day. So I had to decide if I was willing to exchange that coffee that was adding no value to my life for the world's finest nutrition. And I was. And so I was able to figure out a way to afford it. So it really all comes down to what you value. Is it pricey? Depends on how you see it. For me, it's an investment in my health. There was nothing better that I could invest in, and so I looked for things that I could exchange. I was already spending the money, so I figured I'll just cut out one habit and replace it with a good one. Does that make sense to you? How's that sound to you? You make it your own. But again, we're asking questions, we're disarming, and we're always, always, always using positive language. You'll see that when they talk to me about the cost, I talk to them about the investment. All right? You want to change that language, change that mindset. People understand that language. They understand the difference between a cost. A cost is something that once it's spent, it's gone. An investment is going to pay you back. So you change their language. If somebody talks about it being too expensive, you talk about what a great investment it is and what a great exchange it's going to be to cut out all that junk that's adding no value and talk about the value that this is going to add to their life. Okay? Now, all of this, common objections does not replace the introduction. You can do some troubleshooting on the front end, but I promise you, the more that comes out of your mouth before you make an introduction to your mentor, the longer you're going to have to wait for your success. It is a proven fact in Advocare. Proven fact. We know because we did it. Our business stagnated and slowed down in the beginning because I immediately thought I had all the answers. And so I am a person who, if somebody comes to me for help, I just want to help them. And so I immediately started answering everybody's questions, and so did Philip, and our business stagnated. And it wasn't until I got teachable and I realized that there was a system in place to help me that I was able to really get my business to take off. I tell you, I still to this day connect my new people to Brooks Reed or Chris Reed. Still, as a Diamond distributor, I still connect my people. And one of them is on this call. Michelle Nallner knows this. She's a friend from high school. I've told you guys this before. I made the initial contact with her. We had some very baseline surface conversations about the value I thought this could add to her. Every objection she had for me, the cost, I don't think I have the personality for this. I always ask questions and kind of let her know what I thought and what I saw in her. And when the time was right for that connection, immediately we sat down across the table from Brooks Reed. And that alone is the reason why she's here and pinned silver last pay period. I'm telling you, the only reason why. Simply because I got her connected to someone who was not me. All right? So, the three-way phone call. We're just going to stop for a minute. We're going to talk about the three-way phone call. I know we've talked about this before. I know you guys may hopefully have listened to the training on the three-way phone call. But there's a couple of reasons why the three-way phone call is so important. It levels the playing field, okay? You might be the world's greatest salesperson. You might be the world's most excited human being about AdvoCare. You might be a gifted speaker and very eloquent with words, and that's what Philip used to say is, I'm more eloquent than Jason Pinnell. Why can't I talk to people about AdvoCare? Why do I have to introduce people to him? And it's true, but that doesn't matter, okay? Because at the end of the day, the person that you're speaking to might not be a great salesperson, might not be eloquent, might not have a lot of time, might not have a lot of the qualities that you naturally possess. And that three-way phone call, what it does is it immediately shows them that they are going to have help, okay? It shows them that, first of all, right out of the gate. It shows that prospect that they are going to have someone in their pocket who's going to help them. And it shows them that if they want to say yes to AdvoCare, that they're going to have someone to help them do it, that they don't have to have all the answers. Because believe it or not, the majority of people do not want to have all the answers. They want to be able to say, hang on just a minute, let me let you talk to someone who can help you better than I can, and hit mute and get on with their life. Not everybody has the kind of time that maybe you have or that I have. Okay, they need something that they can do in their discretionary time. Brooks Reed is a perfect example. She had 4 children, all under the age of 7 when she started AdvoCare. She was constantly cooking, folding laundry, running a taxi service, and changing diapers. She did not have time to sit on the phone and answer questions for people. She needed to get people to Angela Pinnell, hit mute, and get on with her life. So the reason why Brooks Reed got to Ruby in 90 days is because when anybody called her or when she talked to anybody about AdvoCare, I remember the time, even I was already a distributor, you guys, and I called Brooks, and I was seriously not at my computer, and I said, hey, what flavors does Spark come in? And she literally said, I don't know, let's call Angela. And she buzzed Angela in immediately, which allowed for, again, another layer of validation for me. Brooks didn't have time to look up Spark for me. She didn't have time to do all that stuff. She was busy. And so what she showed me in that moment was that I had help, was that I didn't have to have those answers off the top of my head, that I had a partner in this business, okay? So you are giving a gift to your prospect when you zip it and you introduce them to someone else. The second piece is it's duplicatable. All right. If you are not having luck with people moving forward in the business, you can always trace it back to the fact that they do not want to do what you're doing. Okay. Always. And guilty as charged. They do not want to do what you're doing. So if you're over talking AdvoCare, they don't want to do that. They don't want to be the AdvoCare expert. They just want to feel great and make some money. If you are over posting on Facebook, they don't want to do that. They don't want to be that person that all their friends are going to hide and run from, okay? So if you don't have people moving forward in your business and making decisions, it's because they're looking at you and going, I don't want to do that, all right? So these are the reasons why we do the three-way phone call, okay? Now, a few kind of rules for the three-way phone call. These were taught to me. These were things I had to get better at, okay? I had to get better at this. I stunk at it in the beginning. I will never forget the first time I interrupted Jason Pinnell on a three-way phone call. I made the introduction. We're going to talk about the introduction, but I made the introduction to him, and he was talking to my friend on the phone, and I wanted the conversation to go a different way. So I inserted myself, I unmuted, and I inserted myself into the conversation. And he said, well, Mary Alice, it sounds like you don't need me. Thanks for your time. And he hung up the phone. Okay? The minute that you speak during a three-way phone call as the person who's made the introduction, you have completely just discredited your mentor. You have said, I really don't need this person on the other end of the line. I got this. So when you introduce someone, when you make that connection and you say, all right, Sally, this is my mentor and friend, Mary Alice. She is the person who helps me in this business. She has helped a lot of people get phenomenal results, and I wanted you to meet her today because whatever you see in this for yourself, whether it's the products or the business, I know that Mary Alice is going to be able to help you. And while she's helping you, I'm going to learn. So Mary Alice, this is Sally. Sally and I went to high school together. We've known each other a long time. I sparked her today and got her excited about AdvoCare, and she can't wait to hear from you. So what I'm going to do, ladies, I'm going to hit mute right now so that I can take notes and learn so I can get better at this while you help Sally, Mary Alice. So I'll be here when you guys are done. And guys, I'm telling you what, that is it. That's the introduction. That is how every introduction should go. All right? The purpose of the introduction is to edify the mentor. You want your prospect to think that Philip and I, or Phil and Melanie Thomason, or Hal and Megan Craig, or Jason and Rachel Allen, or James and Julie Wright, or John and Amy Myers, or whoever it is that's your mentor that's doing your calls. You want your prospect to think that these people are the best thing since sliced bread. Not because we are, but because we are their best shot at getting success. You're not. And I don't mean that negatively towards you. You're awesome. You're on this call. You're awesome. But you are not their best shot at success. You cannot lead people where you have not gone. And all of you, with the exception of Michelle and Billy, have not hit your silver pin yet. You can't lead someone where you haven't been. So if you have somebody who desperately needs financial freedom, you got to put them on the phone with somebody who's achieved that. You got to put them on the phone with somebody who's done that. If they want physical freedom, you got to put them on the phone with somebody that's done that, that's walked that journey. So you've got to edify your leader. If you find that people are not wanting to get on the phone, it's because you haven't made a big enough deal about how important this is. Okay? You have not made a big enough deal about how amazing it is that your mentor would take 15 minutes out of their day, as busy as they are, to talk to your friend. And I know that sounds insane because, guys, I'm telling you what, Philip and I, normal. Jason and Angela Pinnell, normal. Brooks and Chris Reed, normal. We're all regular, average people living our lives, doing our thing. But when Brooks introduced me to Angela, I thought I was talking to royalty because Brooks built her up so much to me. And then when Angela introduced me to Crystal Thurber, who is her mentor that lives in Kansas City, Missouri, I was so nervous to get on the phone with her simply because I'd heard so much about her and I knew what she'd accomplished. And so you've got to set this expectation for your prospect that they're getting on the phone with someone who's done great things and who's helping other people do great things, okay? It works. It works every single time. It has nothing to do with our ego as leaders. Trust me, not at all. It has everything to do with getting your prospect fired up to talk to somebody who can help them achieve what they want to achieve. So you're building up your mentor. You're building them up on the front end. And then when you make that introduction, you're doing it again. You're saying, all right, Sally, this is Mary Alice. I've told you all about her. I tell you what, she is helping so many people achieve physical and financial freedom. And I am so thankful that she was able to take a few minutes to talk to you today because I know she's going to bless your socks off, or he's going to bless your socks off. And then it's less important that you tell me about the person. Because here's the deal, and this is key. And somebody out there, I believe, is going to catch this vision, okay? I honestly don't want to know anything about the person I'm talking to. And here's why. I only want to know what they want me to know. If you have already debriefed me on the person that we're talking about, then my tendency is going to be to ask certain questions based on what I already know. And the conversation is not going to flow in the direction it needs to go in, Okay, so if you've already told me that they're broke, busted, and disgusted, and that they have $1,000 million of debt, that's the direction I'm going to go. But Sally might only want to open up today about her weight problem. And if I can connect with her about that weight problem, and I can build relationship with her about that weight problem, and I can ask her questions, because believe it or not, as leaders, we're trained to ask the certain questions. We know to ask questions. And I ask her these questions, she's going to be able to trust me and open up to me either on that call about the debt or on the next call we have about the debt. And when she does, then it's going to be hers and she's going to own it. Okay? But if you tell me everything I need to know ahead of time, then I might take the call in a completely different direction than Sally wanted the call to go, and I might miss something very important that Sally wanted me to hear. Okay? So don't debrief your mentor, whoever your mentor is, and I understand I'm speaking from my personal perspective. Whoever your mentor is in this business, we've got amazing mentors, John and Amy and Phil and Melanie and Hal and Megan and Jason and Rachel, all these, and Ed and Lee and Kate, all these incredible people who are consistently leading successful phone calls. Don't debrief them on your prospect. They don't want to know, trust me. They may not have the guts to tell you yet, like I will tell you, but don't tell me anything. Just give me how you know each other and let me ask the questions that will lead us down the path that the prospect wants it to go. Okay? So you have, what's the word I'm looking for? You have properly set up your mentor. You've made the introduction. You've hit mute. And then I'm telling you what, we don't want to hear your voice again until the end of the call. And here's why. A lot of times what happens on three-way phone calls, especially the good ones, when we're really getting into the deep stuff, the tendency is sometimes there's a long pause. I've been on those calls before where I ask the right questions and I know I've really struck a nerve with somebody. Maybe I've challenged them on something, or they're giving a lot of excuses and I'm pushing back a little bit. Or let's say, we finally just uncovered the real purpose that we're on the phone call and they have spoken it out of their mouth. And there's this moment of uncomfortable silence. The tendency for you as the introducer is to unmute yourself and jump in and start to make things better. To start to, well, but, and because you don't want us to push your friend, or you don't want your friend to feel uncomfortable. But a lot of times that has to happen. And so what happens when you unmute yourself on this three-way call, the conversation goes in a completely different direction. Or let's say as the mentor, we're taking the conversation in one direction and you want it to go this way and you insert yourself, you completely disrupt the flow of the call. And as Jason Pinnell taught me very early on, you discredit the person who's speaking. Okay, you truly want your prospect to believe and know that your mentor is the expert, that you are truly here to learn so that you can get better and you can start to mentor other people. Okay, so all of this works together to do several things. As I said in the beginning, your prospect is going to feel cared for. Your prospect is going to feel valued because we're asking them questions about themselves and we're getting to the bottom of the issue and we're going to offer them tangible solutions. They're going to know that they have help, right? They're going to immediately know. So if I want to share Advocare with somebody, all I have to do is introduce them. I don't have to be the expert, and that's attractive to people, very attractive to people. And then at the end of the phone call, guess what you don't do? Don't keep talking, okay? I am the world's worst. So you're talking to someone right now who did this all the time. I would completely keep talking. And I would just, well, tell me what you thought about that, and blah, blah, blah. And I would just keep chit-chatting for 30 minutes after the phone call. And usually what happens by that point, I have completely watered down the message that my mentor just presented to my prospect. Okay, so it's very important that at the end of that phone call you say, all right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to shoot you a text in a little bit, and we're going to set up a follow-up call so that I can call you and, kind of answer any questions and get you, maybe reconnected. Most times we're going to have given them a step. I know I did a three-way phone call today, and I gave her a step. I gave her a webinar to watch. And, once she watches that webinar, we're going to follow up again. So your job at the end of the call is to disconnect, be done, disconnect from the call, okay? And again, because sometimes what happens is you can actually undo the work that was done during the call. I know that Brooks, whom I love more than anything in the world, has a habit a lot of times of staying on the line. She will, instead of disconnecting, she will hit mute and she will listen. And I've done that before as well. And she has said, and we do that for teaching purposes, right? And she has said that she's heard more people, buy back Advocare. The person is so fired up after the call, they're ready, they're like, I want to go all in, I want to do this. And the friend is actually going, well, you can work your way to advisor and don't feel pressure. And so what we tend to do is we tend to apologize, right? We tend to apologize almost for our mentor, especially if our mentor is speaking with strength. So when the call's over, it's done, it's over, we're honoring everybody's time, and we're, moving forward from there. So I hope that helps, with the purpose of the three-way phone call, why it is absolutely vital to your business. I don't know anybody in a high level of leadership that's built their business without the three-way call. Even mixers, if you want mixer attendance, if you want people to come to your mixers, three-way phone calls are vital to the mixer, because people will not come to mixers if they haven't been layered ahead of time with a three-way phone call. They have to understand and know why they're coming. And let me put it this way. You all of a sudden, let's say you all of a sudden you're in Advocare, and so you are making healthier choices and you're making a little bit of money, but your friends and family still see you as same old you, right? They just do. It's just reality for every one of us. They are not coming to you now all of a sudden for nutritional advice when 3 months ago you were eating barbecue with them down at the barbecue joint. They're not coming to you for financial advice when 6 months ago you were in bankruptcy. My family, as a 300-pound woman who literally almost lost her home, my friends and family were not looking at me and saying, she knows what she's talking about. No, but what they bought was my excitement level. They bought how passionate I was. They bought how excited I was about what I had my hands on. And because of that, they were willing to then talk to the expert who I had built up so much for them before they got on that phone call. And when I got my friend on that phone call, my mentors delivered every single time, and that's why we have the business that we have today. So know this, know that three-way phone calls have nothing to do with us. Nothing. They have nothing to do with the fact that you don't know, right? We're training you so that you do know the answer. But the true finesse and the true expertise in this business is knowing when to go and make that introduction. That is when you will see explosion in your business. I cannot say this enough. I cannot say this enough. I hope this is resonating. In fact, I'm going to look and see if I have questions because hold on. Look here. You guys are good. Hold on. Okay, hold on, guys. I'm looking. Okay, Ashley, I'm going to start with what you said about no, it's like Mary Kay. You have a great thing. I'm just going to read this. You said, I am sure this isn't correct, but one time someone said it's a network marketing thing, and I said, no, it's like Mary Kay. And they were like, oh, well, that's awesome. It's worked every time since then. Advocare is actually very, very different from Mary Kay. A lot of our compensation plan is very, very different. Both companies are network marketing companies. We both have the direct sales compensation plan. Both are members of the Direct Sales Association, but our compensation plan is very, very different. We do not have a car program like they have. Our compensation is not tied to that. We do not have a certain number of parties we have to book every month. It's an incredibly different compensation plan. I know this because Brooks was a sales director in Mary Kay before Advocare, and it didn't work for her over there. It wasn't her thing. So when we talk about Advocare, let's be sure that we don't bring the language in of other companies. You've done nothing wrong. It's totally fine. But just know that we don't ever want to we don't want to compare ourselves to other companies, nor do we ever want to put another company down. So it's just best when someone says, is this network marketing? In fact, it is. So tell me what you know about network marketing, or tell me what you know about direct sales. I'd love to introduce you to someone who can show you why this is a great way for you to be able to build some wealth that can change your legacy. That kind of a thing, instead of comparing it to another company. Let's look at the next question. Okay, excellent question, Arlinghouses, because we've had to do this so many times. You guys said, for the people that you've already made contact with but didn't do it right, how do you come back from those mistakes? We actually made a list in the beginning of all the people that we had messed up with and vomited on and all this stuff. And we, as hard as it was, I remember almost wanting to hyperventilate in a brown paper bag, but people appreciate humility, they appreciate honesty, and they appreciate transparency. That's all we want to be in this business, is transparent and honest and very humble. And so we made phone calls and we said, hey, listen, I know I reached out to you, 3 months ago about what we're doing in Advocare, and you were not interested. But I want to let you know that I did it wrong, and I want to apologize to you for that. And I would never want my eagerness to get in the way of you seeing something that could potentially change your life. I still don't know if this is for you or not, but I would love the opportunity to share it with you correctly so that you can see for sure if this could be something that's for you or not. Does that sound fair? And then, hey, listen, here's what I want to do next. I want to introduce you to the person who's helping me so that you can hear about Advocare from an expert. It's that simple. It is literally making an apology and asking for another shot. And you will be shocked and surprised at how many people will take you up on that. Some people will not, and that's okay. And you just have to know that this probably wasn't for them. And if it isn't for them, that's awesome. But you might also be planting a seed for later down the road, and they're going to think back and go, wow, Jessica was really humble about that, and I appreciate the way she handled that. I think I'm going to call her about it because my circumstances have changed. Either way, you just ask. You apologize and you ask for another shot. And people, a lot of times we actually have people in our business who are a result of those conversations. So it works, and you just have to be real about it and let them know, I am so excited. I was so excited that I did this wrong, and I want to do it right with you because you matter to me, and I see something in this for you. Okay, it's always about the other person. It has to be about the other person. So I think that's how I would handle that. Now let me look at the next question. Oh, Ashley, you're fine. You're so awesome. Way to go, Rebecca. Set up the first three-way call. And then Ashley asked another great question. What do we say to set up the three-way call but not say too much? I think it's just very simply when you shared your story and someone's interested, it's just saying, here's what we do next. Those words right there will change everything. Here's what we need to do next. I'm going to introduce you to my friend Mary Alice, who's helping me, simply because I want to learn how to do this better, and I'm going to do that while she's helping you. So we're both going to learn at the same time. So tell me, when are you free? Tonight at 7 or tonight at 9, because here's what I want to do. I want to text her the times that you're free, because I know she's really busy, and it's so important that you two meet and connect, and I want to be sure that we find a time that works for everyone. And that's it. It doesn't need to be any more than that, okay? But yet at the same time, I hope you heard the urgency. Here's what we need to do next. It's not when do you want to meet Mary Alice. It's I'm going to introduce you to my friend Mary Alice who's helping me. And the reason why we use those words is because there's no question in there. This is the process. You're showing your friend that you have a plan. And people will follow someone with a plan. They will not follow questions and wishy-washy. They will only follow plan. So if you can say to someone with strength, I'm so glad that sounds good to you. Here's what we're going to do next. I'm going to introduce you to my friend Mary Alice. You have to hear her story. And while you're hearing her story and she's helping you, I'm going to be learning. So we're all going to get something out of this. So tell me, are you free tonight at 7 or 9? And you know when you're free, so you figure out when they're free and you text those times to your mentor, and your mentor can then go, yeah, you know what, 7 doesn't work, but 9 works. Let's confirm that. We book the appointment. We do the call. You make the introduction. The mentor takes it. You disconnect the call, and we're done. And I'm telling you, that works every single time. Every single time it works. Okay? All right. So that's all I have right now for questions. So the next thing we're going to talk about are the 4 relationships in Advocare. Okay, the 4. Okay, hold on just a minute. I think we have a new silver qualification on our team, but I'm not going to say who until I know for sure. Hallelujah. We are going to talk about the 4 relationships in Advocare. All right, and why they're important and how we speak about them. Okay, because again, one of these days you guys are going to be leading through phone calls. You're going to be the mentor on the other end of the line. And also, for some of you, as you grow, and some of you are going to grow in your leadership ability very quickly, others may not, but some of you will. Some of you will be more ready for this sooner. So let's say you've connected me to someone on a 3-way phone call, and I've shared the 4 relationships with them, and they're processing, and they want to think about how they want to get involved, and then they call you back, and they say to you, you know what, I'm ready. So tell me what those 4 relationships are again. It's perfectly acceptable for you to walk them through the 4 relationships at that point and help them make a strong decision. And so it's important that you know what these 4 relationships are and why we talk about them the way we talk about them. Okay? Now, everybody I think knows this, but I'm going to write it out anyway. The 4 relationships are, can y'all see that? We're gonna hope and pray. Let's move this up a little. You gotta love technology, you guys. Number 1 is a retail customer. Okay. Number 2, wholesale customer. Number 3, distributor. And number 4, business advisor. All right, now, Deb Fisser, who is one of our SVPs, let me move this back a little bit. She talks about, that's close. Hey, Drew. She talks about this in such a way that it makes so much sense to me. Let me turn this again. Sorry, y'all. Deb talks about this like a menu. And so when I speak, if you've ever been to a mixer that Philip and I have led, or if you've ever been to a business opportunity meeting that we've led, or you've watched a webinar, you will hear me use this language because it came from Deb, and I think it's genius. Another thing you need to know, just jot this down, is that there's nothing original in Advocare. We're always borrowing from everybody else. So if I ever say something and you're like, Mary Alice is a genius, know that it didn't come from me. I heard it from somebody else. I'm literally like I don't even know, like a parrot. We hear from our corporate, we hear from other diamonds, and we just repeat. So know that. This is from Deb Fisser. She talks about the 4 relationships like they're a menu. So let's say that I am sitting across the table from someone and I want them to know beyond a doubt that they have options in Advocare. I'm going to tell them, you know what, I want you to feel like you have just sat down in a 5-star restaurant. Everything on the menu is fantastic. So you need to know that ahead of time. You need to know that whatever decision you make is a great decision, and it's all going to taste really good. But at this restaurant, there are 4 items on the menu, and you are going to choose the right entree based on how hungry you are. Okay? All this is how hungry are you? That's it. So for the person who says, I just want to use product, and I am perfectly fine to pay full price for that, their choice is going to be retail customer, okay? It's never your job to try to push somebody into another role. If they're happy here, That's totally fine. We have a girl who has been buying retail from us for 3 years. She is fully aware of her other options, but she chooses retail. I bring it up with her every now and again. I'll let her know, hey, just want to make sure that you are aware still that you have options here. She's great with it. She does not want to do anything. She goes to my website at least twice a month and purchases 3 canisters of Spark every single time. Same order every single time. It's great. She loves that. So if you find those people who just want to be retail customers, love them. Love them, support them, make sure they know about this, but love them, okay? Wholesale customer. This is for the person who says, I think I'm going to order the appetizer, but I think I'm going to order it at a discount. This is for the person who's a little bit more hungry than the retail customer. This person says, I don't pay full price for anything, and a $79 membership fee is worth it to me. So you're going to let them know you can sign up to be a wholesale member in AdvoCare. There is no obligation here. Okay, you do not have product shipped to you every month that you did not order. You don't have to worry about returns. You know, you're not going to get a box of product that you did not push submit order. Okay, so know that. You get to choose what you order, and you get to choose when you order. There's no minimum or quota that you ever have to meet. This is strictly a $79 membership fee, just like you would have at Sam's or Costco. Okay, simple, right? People love this. This also breeds loyalty, all right? I know that at any moment my girl who buys retail from me could jump ship and go buy from somebody else. I know that. She wouldn't. I know she wouldn't because I know her and we're friends, been friends a long time, and I've served her well. But she could, right? She could totally do that because she's not obligated. She doesn't have her own membership. So a wholesale customer, they have signed up, they have buy-in, so they are more likely to return to their website every week, every 2 weeks, every month, and purchase product because they know not only are they buying from themselves, they're buying it at a discount. You're going to be compensated for this. You're compensated for all these. So by default, this is what I tell people, by default, when you become a wholesale customer, you have the right but not the obligation to distribute. Okay, this is a right, not an obligation. Okay, this is something, this is a pet peeve of mine. So y'all are going to get to hear my pet peeve. It is my pet peeve when I hear people say, well, they signed up to be a distributor, I don't know why I can't get them to do anything. These are the same thing, okay? We don't ever want to get people to do anything, okay? That's not how this works. It's always about that person. And so if they just want this discount, that's great. But if they want to distribute the product, that's also great. Now, the job description for a distributor in AdvoCare is the same as yours. It's, you know, tell your story, take your products first, get great results, talk to people, tell your story, and invite them to hear more. A lot of times you find that someone who's a distributor who's just casually sharing, you know, they might introduce you to a couple people. If they do, that's amazing. That's a gift, right? But they certainly don't have to. This is a right that someone has as a member for $79, but it is not an obligation, and it is imperative that we let people know that, okay? They have to know that they have options, okay? But then when you become a business advisor, this to me is the 5-course meal. This is when it gets good. This is for the person who sits down and says, I want the appetizer, I want the salad, I want the main course, and I want dessert. This is everything in AdvoCare. And what I mean when I say that is you are maximizing, okay, the discount that you have, and you are maximizing your earning potential. Now here's the cool part, and you may not think this is cool, but I do. Once again, this is a right, not an obligation. Even at advisor, let me write this because I can't speak and write at the same time clearly. Even as a business advisor, you can have a lifetime 40% discount and never sell product to anybody else. You have the right to enjoy a 40% discount. It's just what AdvoCare does. So we always want to let people know when I am talking to someone, and here's the deal, especially somebody who has a great amount of weight to lose, or wanting to make if I ever hear them say lifestyle change, well, I know that they are going to maximize their discount and their benefit as an advisor. So why in the world am I going to start talking to them about retail customer? No way. I'm going to let them know right out of the gate, did you know that you can have a 40% discount on your products for life? I let them know that because that is the best possible option for every single person, right? We all want to save money. Whether or not we desire to make money, we want to put in the effort to do so. We all want to save money, right? I got this one friend who doesn't, but most other people do, okay? So know that business advisor is, for me, I always start there, okay? I start with business advisor, and if that's not for them, then we're going to work our way down. I don't start here and work my way to advisor. I always start in a speak advisor with strength. So again, when you introduce people on three-way phone calls and you hear your mentor speak advisor with strength, this isn't to be pushy. You have to, first and foremost, change your mindset. If you are afraid, if there's anything in you that is afraid that your friends are going to feel pushed or feel sold to, that is a mindset within you that you have to shift. There is no mentor or leader on this team that I know that would ever pressure someone into a decision. It just wouldn't happen. I have never met a person yet who went straight to advisor who said they regretted it, but I've met a lot of people who said, man, I wish somebody had told me so that I can maximize my discount and maximize my earnings, okay? Now, even though as a business advisor you do not have the obligation to build a business, you can. You can make a little bit of money here as a distributor, but you can make a whole lot of money down here. And so when I'm talking to someone who has a money need, a financial need, well then this is the only option, okay? So if I'm speaking to someone who has just let me know that they have a massive amount of debt, or they have a goal for a family vacation or a college fund or whatever it is, this is where I'm going. And I'm not moving off of this. I'm staying right here. And if they say to me, but I don't have $2,100 to invest, well, that's when I start talking to them about the ways to help them move to advisor. So that's what we're going to talk about next. Okay? And again, understanding this is not a conversation that you guys are going to be having right now with people. We are teaching you this so that you will recognize the language when you hear your mentor speak this with strength, and so that one of these days when you are leading calls like this, you will have this knowledge base to draw from. And also, one of these days, you're going to be teaching and training your new guys to do this. Okay? So this is a teach to train business. All right, we are led to lead and we're fed to feed is what I always tell people. So we are teaching this to you so that one day you will pay it forward and train your people on the same stuff. So if I've got somebody and they say to me, you know, Mary Alice, I want to lose 100 pounds, or Mary Alice, I have $18,000 of debt that I want to pay off. Advisor, for me, is the only way to go. Why? Because they're maximizing their savings and, I'm just going to write everything, and their profit, okay? So simple. So when we're talking to someone about advisor, the best possible option is a one-time purchase. Hopefully this is going to make sense for some of you that maybe this hasn't clicked for before. A one-time purchase of $3,000 worth of product. Okay? Now, the advisor order purchase is only at 30% off. Okay? So you're getting a 30% discount. That means you're spending $2,100 plus shipping and tax. So it ends up being about $2,400 on your initial investment. Okay? Once you do that, once you become an advisor, you then have a lifetime 40% discount on your products. Okay? Does that make sense? So this right here is the fastest and best. So when somebody says to me, I need money fast, this is it. This is the way to go. All right? Making that investment. Why is this important? Because what you see here is if we're looking at a maximum $2,400 out-of-pocket investment, if they purchase product to sell, to turn around and retail out to people, they then have a $600, well, if they're charging shipping and tax, this is a $900 profit. Anywhere from a $600 to a $900 profit, okay? Built right in. My handwriting is getting atrocious. So what we're looking at here is they've made an investment, but when they turn around and retail, so let's say they buy all 24-day challenges, they turn around and retail those products out, they're going to not only recoup the $2,100 that they spent, they're also going to recoup the profit because we're not giving our discount away. Remember, that's against company policy. We're selling it at full retail cost, so we're going to recoup that profit. And then we've got somebody who's got a business with a lifetime 40% discount. They're ready to rock and roll. Now, my favorite option with this is to use this product to stock your own pantry and get about the business of building a business and sharing the 4 relationships and helping people get started in AdvoCare and building your business that way. That is the quickest way to recoup your money and the most long-term way to, recoup and start building a business. But that, again, we do what we have to do. Everybody has a different way. Now, when we have somebody, I hope that makes sense. You can ask questions if you don't understand. Now, here's the other way. And I'm going to show you why, again, we speak advisor with strength to people and why we speak getting there quickly to people. Okay? AdvoCare gives you 3 pay periods, okay, to work your way to advisor. So here's pay period 1, here's pay period 2, and here's pay period 3. All right. For Philip and me, we needed money. We were desperate. We had, a house. We were about to lose it. We needed food. We were desperate. So Jason Pinnell said, I know you don't have money. What can you do? We knew that we had to have a minimum $500 personal volume amount in our first pay period. So here's what I did. I'll just be very transparent again since we seem to be transparent tonight. I borrowed $500 from my mother and I bought our 2 24-day challenges. So you can do that. Whatever you need to do, we have a $500 personal purchase right here, okay, in pay period number 1. So I know I've got 3 pay periods, but I didn't want to drag that out because here's what I knew. I knew that I had to have, once again, a minimum $500 here and here. I knew that I had to do that. And I didn't want to have to come up with that again, right? I didn't want to have to figure that out again. So here's what I did. I said, all right, how many people do I know? I made my list. We've already talked about that. I reached out. I made connections. I told my story. I invited people to hear more from Jason and Angela or from Brooks and Chris. I got everybody to do a mixer. And in 3 days' time, we had accumulated the additional $2,500 that we needed. We actually accumulated $10,000 total from those orders, but we were an advisor because we finished it in 1 pay period because we had our personal volume in and we sponsored distributors and got other people working towards advisor here in this first pay period. So we were an advisor, okay? That right there was, outside of going straight to advisor, the least expensive way for me to do it is in 1 pay period, okay? Now, if we drag it into, let's say we drag it out into 2 pay periods, I still have to have a minimum $500 personal volume. Now, this can be my personal purchases or this can be people buying at retail, know that. But still, this is a very important number. If you miss this, you're out of the game. So this $500 volume mark still has to be met here. And let's say I bring on an additional $1,000 in this pay period, okay? So I've got 500 and 500 plus 1,000, okay? That is 2,000. So if I look at that, I know that I still have to have 1,000 over here. So let's just say that I go out and I sponsor some distributors and I bring on $1,000 in this pay period. You would think that I'm an advisor, but I'm not. Does anybody know why? Because I don't have my $500 personal in here. We have had people miss advisor because they had the total amount, but the one thing Advocare says, if you take all 3 pay periods, you still have to have $500 personal volume in all 3 pay periods, whether it adds up or not, okay? So that's important. This is a key. That is why, again, for this person working to advisor, it would have been so much better if we had moved with speed and gotten in our 2,000 here, because then we're done. We don't even have to worry about this pay period over here. So when you connect someone and you have introduced someone to your mentor, and your mentor is helping them with advisor, and this person wants advisor, there is a reason why we speak so strongly, because it is in their best interest. It's not because it's in our best interest. I actually make more money over time when somebody drags this out, but I don't want to do that. Why in the world would we want to do that when we can help somebody get to advisor in 1 pay period, and then we can help them go out and start earning their rookie bonus, right? And we can help them start building a business. It just doesn't make sense. If it's possible to get to advisor quickly, then obviously that's exactly what we want to do, okay? So there's probably going to be questions about that. If there are, I'm more than happy to take them. I was not a math major in college, but it's taken me a while, but I understand that, pretty well. And so you will notice on your microsite, you have what's called the advisor pre-qualification report. So if you go into your office and you look under your reports, you're going to see your advisor pre-qualification report. And if you have someone in your business who has placed a $500 retail order, then you're going to see that they're in there. It's going to show you that they are working on their first period of qualification. If they do a 500 this pay period, and then they have a 500 over here, they're going to show up as having completed their first pay period of qualification and working on their second, and it's going to give you the volume that they still lack, which in this case would be $2,000, to help them know exactly how much they have left to go as they're working towards advisor. So those reports are very, very helpful as your business grows and as you have more and more people signing up. I think I looked today and we have over 200 people on our advisor pre-qualification report. So as your business grows, you're going to have more and more people who are popping up on your advisor pre-qualification report as having $500 orders in. And so you can be a good steward of that. You can call people and say, hey, I just wanted to let you know that you have, you are working your way towards advisor. How can I help you get a lifetime 40% discount? And that's how, you grow your business. So that is actually, what time is it? That's actually the end of the teaching. So what I want to do, I'm going to look here. You guys have asked great questions tonight. So if you have any other questions, I want to take those. I'm going to see if Philip has anything to add. Philip Duncan. He's not down here. I thought he was. I think he's upstairs with the boys. I was going to see if he had anything that he wanted to add. Okay, here's what I want you guys to know. If you guys have any other questions, please type them in, and I'll make sure that I get them answered. Oh, wait, look, here we go. There's more questions, and I missed them. Hold on. You guys are awesome to put up with me. Here we go. All right. How do you follow up and not seem pushy? Excellent question. Again, this all goes back to making it about the other person. And if you're calling someone and you're saying, I just wanted to check in with you, wanted to see what you thought about that spark, whatever. I always think it's a great idea to ask permission to continue to follow up. That is the one thing that I hear Brooks say a lot that Angela did for her in the beginning. Angela gave her spark and she didn't try it. And so Angela would call and say, hey, what did you think about that spark? And Brooks would say, I haven't had a moment to drink it yet. I'm going to. And Angela would say, well, do I have permission to call you back tomorrow? Because I want to know how you feel. I want to know how great you feel. And Brooks would always give her permission to call back again. So after she tried it and she loved it, then Brooks said, how do I get more of that? And Angela's response was, well, you can buy it. And Brooks's response, well, I don't have any money. And so then Angela said, well, then I believe you need to hear about the opportunity that AdvoCare offers. I'd love to introduce you to my mentor, Crystal Thurber. No, I don't think so. Okay, well, that's all right. So when can I follow up again? I just want to check in with you again and, make sure that your situation hasn't changed and whatnot. And so Brooks always was giving her permission to follow up. So, I think we get to the point when people aren't answering the phone, when they're dodging our calls, when we know we've crossed that line. So if you can just always remember to be respectful and mindful of them and know that, as long as you're asking permission, they will let you know. People will be very clear. They will be very honest about whether or not you have permission to continue to follow up. Angela did the same thing to me. I was a solid no in the beginning, knowing that I needed this opportunity, but she continued to pursue me over time. She came to my dance class and inserted herself there and just spent time getting to know me. She continued to ask permission to follow up with me. She sent me webinar invitations. I told her I wasn't going to watch, and I always watched because I was so curious about what AdvoCare was about. And then the final straw was she came and I ran into her in the parking lot at my dance class, and she said, listen, I really want to ask you a question. Do I have your permission to do so? And I said, yes. And she said, what's holding you back? Tell me what's holding you back, because I know this can bless you. I am willing to help. I'm offering my help to you. What's holding you back? And I had in that moment to confront it. I had to confront. It was fear. It was fear of what people would think. And we booked my mixer right there on the spot, and the rest is history. So it's just being respectful, always asking for permission. And bottom line, you guys, keeping this comfortable and sounding like yourself. People know when you're reading off a script. They know when you have this so prepackaged that it's not authentically you. They know when you're trying to sound like your mentor and not like yourself. So just be you and just ask, always asking for permission to follow up. All right, next question. Hello, Kristen. Okay, what I did to get leads once my well dried up. Did I canvass the neighborhood, talk to strangers, or any out-of-the-box ideas that worked? Okay, here's the thing. I've been in AdvoCare for 3.5 years, and my warm market still has not dried up. That is kind of something that we tell ourselves. We tell ourselves all the time that we're out of people. I hear that every day. I've talked to everybody I know. I've talked to everybody I know. Yeah, you've talked to everybody in your immediate sphere. And this is honestly when it gets really good, when you can kind of dig beyond your immediate sphere. I always encourage people to really sit down and take kind of a personal inventory and figure out, where were you last influential? I had to look back because of my obesity, I had been kind of a hermit. I think I've told you guys this before, so I didn't have a lot of relationships. I kind of burned some bridges. So I had to go back to college and go, well, I was a leader in my social club in college. And so the people back in college that I hadn't talked to in 15 years would remember me as a leader, right? They didn't know obese and depressed Mary Alice. They knew me as a leader. And so I utilized Facebook to get contact information, and then I made personal phone calls. And I would say, and here's something that's key. When you're reaching out to people that you haven't seen in a while, it's very important that you not beat around the bush, because they will immediately know when you switch gears and you start talking about AdvoCare and it feels fake and it feels inauthentic. So if you're calling someone that you haven't talked to in a long time, it's very important that you start the conversation by saying, listen, I'm calling you today with a purpose. I have my hands on something that I'm very excited about, and I remember us, in college, and what an influential person that you were, and how much I respected you and admired you and really enjoyed your company. And I thought of you. I would love to tell you more about what I'm doing because I think this could be something for you. I want to catch up. I definitely want us to do that, but I really wanted to honor and respect your time today. So, is that something that you would be open to? It's that simple. It's letting them know immediately up front that you're not trying to be shady. You're not trying to hide anything. If I called a friend that I haven't talked to in 15 years and I'm beating around the bush and we're talking about kids and, how's the weather, how's the husband, and then all of a sudden, so I'm doing this thing and it's pretty awesome and I thought of you, they're going to immediately go, well, this is shady. Why is she just now bringing it up? Is this really why she called me? And they're going to feel used and manipulated. But if you can let them know right out of the gate, listen, I'm calling you with a purpose and I want to catch up. But right now, I want to honor your time, and I want to let you know about something that I'm doing, and share your 30-second story and say, does any of that sound interesting to you? I really feel like this could be something that could bless you. I've been thinking about you, haven't been able to get you off my mind. People really appreciate that. They love knowing that they've been thought about. They feel honored and valued. So go back there. Next, I went back to high school. I was valedictorian in my high school graduating class. My friends in high school knew me as a leader, and so I wanted them to remember that girl. So when I reached out to friends from high school, I was very assertive with them, and I just said, I'm calling you with a purpose today. I got my hands on something here. And I know back in school, we used to dream big, and I believe I've got the vehicle, and it's so personalized and individualized for each person, and yet the success system works the same way every time. Does that make sense? So you're individualizing your conversation to the specific person, and you're tailoring your story to the specific need of the person that you're talking to, but yet you're always following the success system every time, taking the products, talking to people, and inviting those people to talk with someone who's an expert. Simple, okay? Every single time. So your well has not dried up. I promise you that. After 3.5 years, people are coming out of the woodwork. Go back to people that have said no and try again. Ask for permission and try again. You can approach strangers. Obviously, we do talk to people that we don't know. We've talked about this some on the Facebook page, but let me expound a little bit here so you guys can maybe hear my heart, understand where I'm coming from. I have never packed a bag with Spark and Impact magazines and I'm going out on a recruiting mission. Never. I just don't think that works because my mindset would be in a Mary Alice mode. I'm looking for 5 people today to say yes to me. And I think people can read that. But what I do is I always be sure when I leave home that I have Spark and water bottles for me, and that I have a couple extra, and that I also have Impact magazines. And then I just go about my life and I just interact with people and I listen. And if I'm in the dressing room, and which I was recently, and I heard the lady in the stall next to me complaining about the pants not fitting and whatnot, I knew that I was then obligated to share what I'd found with her. So I waited outside the dressing room and I just said, this is so awkward for me, and I hope you don't think I'm a weirdo, but I overheard you in the dressing room, and I just wanted you to know, A, that I have been there and that I understand exactly how you feel, but I am so grateful that a friend shared hope with me, and I just really wanted to share it with you. Have you ever heard of Spark? And then you just go from there. So I'm always prepared, but I'm not scouting, if that makes sense. Just like the girl in the Hobby Lobby line, I wanted so badly to share Spark with her because she was overweight, but I did not yet have the opportunity because nothing had, it wouldn't be right, hey, you're overweight, try some Spark. No, never. So I just engaged her in conversation and listened, and she finally grimaced when she lifted a vase out of the cart, and I asked her if she was okay, and she told me she was working out. And I said, oh, really? Well, I love to work out too. What kind of workout are you doing? And we had this conversation, and I was about to spark her when her coworker walked up to tell her that they had just brewed a fresh pot of coffee in the back, and I went, bingo. And I said, have you girls ever heard of Spark? And it just started the whole conversation. And I had 2 Sparks and 2 water bottles. One of them was supposed to be for me, because I don't often carry around 18,000 bottles of water. I usually have an extra. But I had 2 because one was for me and one was to sample out if I met someone. So I sampled both girls in the Hobby Lobby line with Spark and water. So, and always say, hey, I want to get your number because I want to call you in a couple hours and see what you thought, because you're going to feel amazing. That kind of a thing. So it's just truly, you can absolutely do that. And of course, we're always looking for new people. And when you become a silver pin earner and you consistently hit your silver pin, you will become a part of the LEADS program in AdvoCare. Actually, I think it's leadership team. I think it used to be silver pin. They've just changed it. When you earn the leadership team and you consistently are earning that, you will become a part of the LEADS program, which means when someone goes to advocare.com and types in look for a distributor, your name will pull up in your area when they search by zip code. And so that's a great way also to meet people. We have advisors on our team that started out as a lead, someone that we didn't even know, and because we introduced them to our mentors and gave them the 4 options and helped them find a vision, they became advisors, mostly for product, but still, you never know what you're going to find when you are a part of the LEADS program. So something to certainly look forward to and strive for. Okay, so I hope that helps. Let's see here. Hold on. I see that, Melanie, you have a question, but I can't, for whatever reason, get down there to it. So I don't know. Hold on a minute. Okay. Does that help? Does anybody else have any other questions? I think we're getting pretty close to time. Next week, let me tell you, as if you have any other questions, please type them in. But know this, next week is going to be awesome. Next week, we're going to be talking about a lot of different stuff, but we are going to, if you remember last week when I helped you guys kind of hopefully see silver, when we mapped out what does silver look like, you know, the difference between PGV and override and leadership and all those different ways that we get paid, we are next week actually going to map out silver to diamond. Okay, I wish you could see what I'm seeing right now. My husband and his gigantic dog are dancing behind me. I don't know how I'm saying. I really don't. I wish that you could all see it. There it is. There it is. See, for those of you who stuck around, you're getting it. Please excuse my messy kitchen too. Food prepping all day. Anyway, now you see why I'm crazy like I am. Okay. Ooh, hey. So
silver to diamond. Silver
to diamond. And so it's important because what we always teach people is if you can get to silver, you can get to diamond. Getting to diamond is getting to silver 12 times. It's repeating the process 12 times. And so knowing that the average diamond distributor in AdvoCare earns almost $700,000 a year. That is someone who is hitting their diamond pin every time consistently. That is an average income of about $700,000 a year. Knowing that, if you knew that you could build a leg of business once a year, if you could have one leg of business, a new one, every year, you could literally focus on one every year. In 12 years, you would have a residual walkaway income of almost $700,000 on top of whatever else you're doing. Would that be worth it? Okay, most people don't take that long. Some people do. You know, we built it in 3. So it just depends on, again, how hungry are you? How tight is your bullseye? How sure is your bullseye? You know, how are you sighted into that bullseye? How many arrows are you shooting at that bullseye? Are you willing to invest and make greater sacrifices the greater the purpose? It all depends. All of those daily actions are going to determine how quickly you guys get to silver and how quickly then you translate that into a diamond pin and the lifestyle that accompanies it and the freedoms that that level of income affords you guys. So we're going to map that out. There's a lot next week. Next week is intense. And so I may have Philip down here with me because I might need a bigger whiteboard. I don't know. But we might have balloons and streamers too because this is exciting. So you guys are going to have homework this week. I'm going to post it in the team page. If you have not yet sparked your 20 people and put 5 people through the success system, I'm going to say it, you're wasting your time in this class. I can't say that enough. I don't want you to not be in this class. I desperately want you guys to be here because I want you to succeed. But this class is busy work. Getting out there, talking to people, and more than that, getting them connected is the work of Advocare and is what's going to get you paid. So if you're not doing that, here's what I want to challenge you with. Again, you're not doing it for me. You're not. This has nothing to do with me, all right? You heard Jenny say it last night. I can't control what you do. I can only control what I do, and I know what I'm going to do. So figure out what is standing in the way of you doing that. Figure out what is it in here. Is it your silver pin? Is it a diamond pin? Is it a level of freedom? Remember what we said at the beginning. Figure out what's in your bullseye and what's keeping you from hitting that. You've got to confront it. You've got to figure out why you're not doing it. Because I know some of you should be calling me and aren't. So let's figure out why you're not, and let's make the changes necessary so that you can get what you want. Okay? Because when you get what you want, all that means is that there are a lot of people out there that you have blessed, a lot of people that you have helped, okay, that we've helped together, that you and your mentor have helped together, okay? All right, I'm going to look down one more time. I'm going to see if there are any more. Oh, this is so good. Arling Houses, y'all have got some awesome questions. So we're going to answer that. I told you guys at the beginning, we're going to keep going. I'm going to answer questions until you guys don't have questions anymore. So class is over. But for those of you, again, who want to know these things and who have your bullseye, stick around, okay? What do you do when your prospect will not get on a three-way call but is still interested, keeps asking questions of you but won't talk to anyone else? Well, this would be a great time because basically what they're doing is they're objecting. So this would be a great time to ask a question. So tell me just really quickly, I desire to help you. I truly desire to help you. So I have to ask you why you are so opposed to speaking with someone who can help you. Very simple. And then based upon their answer, you'll know where to go. If they say, well, you're my friend and I trust you, then say, awesome, I'm glad you trust me. So I'm telling you that the best thing we can do is speak with John or speak with Amy because they've been doing this a lot longer than me, and you deserve to hear what I've heard. You deserve to hear about Advocare the same way I do, and I don't want to mess this up for you. I still need to learn. And so while you're learning, I'm going to be learning, and we're both going to get this together. And John is not only going to be helping me, he's also going to be able to help you because we're going to be working together. You know, this is a team effort. We're going to be working together anyway if you want to do Advocare and be successful. So the best thing I can do is introduce you. Now, if there's another reason, if it still isn't going to happen, one of the things that I recommend is a webinar. It's certainly not the personal connection. It's not ideal as a first touch. But if you can say to someone, I want you to log in and watch this presentation tonight at 7 o'clock from the comfort of your home. You can wear your pajamas. You can, find out the information that you need to find out. And then after that, figure out if they have any questions and say, so here's what we need to do. I'm going to introduce you to my friend because they're going to be able to, to answer those questions for you. I think it has to start with figuring out what their objections are. Bye, Gavin. Have a good night. Tell your mom and dad, hey. They're doing silver school as well, silver sessions for their team as well. It's figuring out what the objection is. There could be scar tissue from another company. They could have in their mind that you're wanting to put them on the phone with somebody that's like sitting in a cubicle in a call center. A lot of times that's the misconception that they have. But if you let them know, I trust this person and we work together as a team and I'm doing this for you so that you can get the best possible results, then 9 times out of 10, you can kind of start to break those walls down. We just have to honor them and figure out why they are objecting to the phone call. Sometimes it's what we say. Maybe we're a little weak with the message. I want, tell me when you're free. Let's, will you get on a call? All of these questions, and they're like, no. Why would they want to? But if you say to them, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to introduce you to my friend, then it just feels normal to them. And so it's not a weird thing. So I hope that helps. Anybody else? You guys are awesome. Truly. Okay. Well, unless anybody else is feverishly typing. Okay. All right. I'm going to give you about 10 more seconds. And then we're going to say goodbye for the evening. By the way, just so you guys know, the story I told you at the beginning about food prepping and my weight and all that stuff, I'm down 6 pounds. So I hope that encourages you in your business. I meant to say that at the beginning, but in 1 week, I'm down 6 pounds. Because why? Why? Can anybody tell me why? Because I made my bullseye, and I've been making consistent choices toward that bullseye. So I hope that's encouraging to you too. So even if you don't understand why you need to do the 3-way phone calls, and even if you think you can get a diamond without them, do them anyway, because I promise you it's going to make a huge difference in your business. Even if you think you don't have to do, if you don't have to spark people, or even if you think you don't have to come to mixers and events and plug in, do it anyway, because we did and it worked, and all the people that we followed did and it worked. And then there have been people who've come along who haven't and it hasn't worked. So successful people do what successful people do. That's what I've heard Danny McDaniel say 1,000 times. I found somebody who is successful in AdvoCare, and I did what he did. And now he's the most successful, business owner in all of AdvoCare. And so I'm watching and I'm doing what he's doing, and he does 3-way phone calls. So, all right, you guys. Yep, last question. So you guys are awesome. Go out there and spark your 20 people. Get people through the success system. Ladies' night, if you're local, is Thursday night. It's going to be at Brooks Reed's house. She has beautiful gifts that she's going to be giving away. I highly encourage you to get in the room if you're local or if you can make the drive. Bring people. Bring ladies. You want to be at these events with people. Your chances of getting people there are going to go up if you connect your lady friends first. I also have a gift that I purchased that I love and I want to keep it, but I can't. I'm going to give it to the person who brings the most guests, and I think they're going to have at least 2. That way we can hopefully avoid a tie. So shoot for 3 or 4 ladies in the room Thursday night. It's going to be an amazing night. Ladies' night just keeps getting better and better. So hope to see you guys there. Thank you. You're awesome. You're the best. And I will see you all soon. Have a great night. Bye.